Do you know why everyone has returned to Sumeru in the new PV? It seems they're investigating clues related to Rerir. We know that Rerir is one of Kenria's 5 sinners, and the ruins of Kenria are buried beneath Sumeru.
I'm sure you'll agree that everyone's curious about their roots on some level. And my roots? They're in Kenria, which is said to have been located deep underground, somewhere near Sumeru.
With Nefer's extensive intelligence network, they likely traced the trail all the way to Sumeru's underground. So, might we see a place here that connects Sumeru and Kenria? Meanwhile, Dainsleif, who is sworn to avenge the 5 sinners, finally enters the main storyline. Through his account, we're about to learn the past of Rerir. Besides, with that exact hairstyle, the brown-haired man in the PV is probably Rerir from 500 years ago, before he completely turned dark. And the list he holds is very likely the surviving heirs of the Crimson Moon dynasty that he was hunting. Even more interestingly, the pieces on this chessboard likely represent the 5 sinners. The piece that pierces the crescent moon represents Rerir of Salnari, Rerir. The piece that looks like Dane corresponds to his brother, the visionary Vedrfolner. The great sword stands for the fowl Sertaligi, and the golden unicorn represents gold Rhindaughter. As for the remaining mask, it can only be the wise Hroptidor. Judging by how the pieces are facing, the 5 sinners were clearly split into 2 factions back then. On one side stood Rerir and Vedrfolner, and on the other, Rhindaughter, Sertaligi, and Hroptidor. And standing quietly at the corner, the twin watches it all unfold. While the other 4 sinners rose to world-shaking power after obtaining abyssal power, unlucky Rerir barely got a taste of his own before plunging into a strange realm called the Moon's Reflection.
The tale of his final fate has it that he fell into the Moon's Reflection, from which there can be no return.
And his body was torn into millions of fragments and hurled into the torrent of chaotic time.
My body was once torn into countless pieces and hurled into the swirling chaos of time itself. But even so, my life and will were not extinguished.
Given the immense power of the 5 sinners, almost no one could have dealt such a devastating blow to Rerir. This suggests he was most likely betrayed by someone close to him when he was off guard. My guess is that the Moon's Reflection isn't a natural dimension at all, but a death trap designed specifically for Rerir. Moreover, Rerir, though torn apart, did not truly perish. His scattered body fragments in the Nodcry region transformed into the rampaging Wild Hunt. Within the original mists of the Wild Hunt, a female ghostly figure once appeared.
But the oldest legends say that all people saw was the ghostly shadow of a woman in the mist. It wasn't until later that it became a full-blown calamity. Abyssal monsters and all.
Very likely Solintus, the close one who betrayed Rerir. There are also clues in the preview to support this. The 2 figures shown in this scene, judging by their dialogue, are certainly connected to the Rerir's death. And this woman, the one Rerir wouldn't have been on guard against, is very likely Thalindus, the person he called out for.
Certainly, Rhindaughter!
Perhaps she is the deepest obsession in Rerir's heart.
But that power of his plays host to an obsession that borders on mania. I cannot say if that fixation is directed at the moons or at something else.
And also the key to defeating him.
Perhaps understanding the subject of his fixation shall prove key to repelling him in the future.
Furthermore, in the PV, we can see Rerir seemingly absorbing the power of a red moon, which is very likely the remnants of the long-lost Iridescent Moon.
The Iridescent Moon's remnants were never found. What happened to her after the war remains a mystery. Some say she vanished in an instant, while others believe that her remnants are simply too delicate to leave a trace.
The Iridescent Moon is the smallest of the 3 moons. After being shattered by Dragon King Nibolang, its crimson shadow sank into the Abyssal Sea. Actually, the dead moon became the faith of Kenria's 1st dynasty, the Crimson Moon dynasty. But later, the Eclipse dynasty replaced the Crimson Moon dynasty. Given Rerir's relentless pursuit of the moons,
he hailed from Kenria, gaining abyssal power during the Cataclysm, and he had a consuming fixation on the moons.
the fall of the Crimson Moon dynasty could very well be closely connected to him. Perhaps the long-lost remains of the Iridescent Moon were hidden away by him all along, and the knave, Prora, is very likely a descendant of the former Crimson Moon dynasty, an heir of the Iridescent Moon. Not only does her title contain Balmoon, the name given to the Crimson Moon after the dynasty's fall, but her signature weapon is also called Crimson Moon's Semblance, which tells the story of the dynasty's destruction. Furthermore, when she uses her elemental burst, a half-crimson moon appears behind her. This strongly suggests that her visit to Nodcry is likely to seek revenge on Rerir and reclaim the Iridescent Moon. Just as Dane's brother's prophecy foretold, the Crimson Moon would take vengeance on the eclipse.